A young man ends up in a prison reserved for the most dangerous criminals after stealing a lighter from a local crime boss. Want to know what they did to him for that? Watch the recap. Eric Love is only 19 years old, but he has already committed numerous crimes and spent much of his life in juvenile detention. Once again, he breaks the law, and this time he is sent to an adult prison. He is searched and placed in a separate cell as a highly dangerous inmate. The cell is small, just a bed, a table, and a toilet. Eric unpacks his belongings, hides several blades, and examines his bruised knuckles. He's going to be here for a long time. The boy trains hard to stay in shape and soon notices that his lighter is broken. The prisoners are called for lunch. Eric asks another inmate for a lighter, but the man refuses. After receiving his food, Eric gets into an argument with another prisoner. It's time for yard walk. A thin, middle-aged man approaches him. It turns out to be his father, Neville, who is also serving time. Neither of them seems happy about the reunion. Neville returns to his cell and sadly looks at a drawing made by his young son. After the walk, prisoners are allowed to move around the block a bit more, but Eric refuses and lies down. A neighboring inmate enters his cell and offers him a lighter, but instead of thanking him, Eric attacks. When he sees the man is no longer moving, he drags the body to the guards and rushes back to his cell. Preparing for a fight, Eric turns his cell into a trap and arms himself with table legs. Riot guards storm the cell with shields and helmets. Eric fights back violently and even takes one guard hostage. He demands a helicopter and a pile of sweets before releasing the guard. Instead of a helicopter, he receives a different reward: 1 month in solitary confinement. He is dragged to another holding area, still resisting and even biting. A prison psychologist named Oliver Baumer watches the situation with interest. Other inmates gather around Eric, but are quickly dispersed. Baumer asks Eric to release the guard, and when he does, the psychologist protects him from the others. Unfortunately, he cannot save him from solitary confinement, but he offers something else: a chance to control his anger and aggression through therapy. At first, the guards strongly oppose the idea. Eric is too violent, too wild. Therapy seems pointless. Still, the prison warden calls Eric into his office and offers him a place in the program. One violation and he's out. Instead of answering, Eric tries to start another fight and is dragged away. We learn that the prison operates under a strict hierarchy. Inmates are divided into strong and weak. Neville and a man named Dennis are among the strongest and most respected figures in Eric's block. As we know, Neville is Eric's father. He wants to save his troubled son and hopes Baumer's therapy can help. Neville visits Eric and urges him to follow the rules. Stay calm, obey the guards, and avoid fights. But Eric ignores him. Taking advantage of the moment, he wanders through the prison, enters another inmate's cell, searches through belongings, and steals 2 lighters. He gives one to the inmate he recently attacked. It turns out Eric stole from Yago, a high-ranking prisoner and local drug dealer within the prison hierarchy. Furious, Yago vows to punish the thief. Suspecting Eric, he orders other inmates to take revenge. Eric attends his first therapy session but behaves aggressively and ignores warnings. Another fight is about to break out. Furious, he storms out. Baumer asks the others to keep an eye on him. Later that day, Yago's men burst into Eric's cell and attack him. They force him to drink from the toilet. Just when things turn brutal, inmates from Baumer's therapy group step in and defend him. Thanks to them, Eric survives. He washes his filthy face in the shower, already dreaming of revenge. The young man doesn't understand why some prisoners are helping him. They tell him it's because of Baumer. Neville visits his son again, scolding him for constantly causing trouble and provoking fights. He keeps a close eye on Eric, trying to figure out which inmates are his enemies. and which ones might be allies. Balmer approaches Eric and asks him to continue the therapy. In defiance, Eric humiliates himself in front of him. But eventually, he agrees to give it another try. The next session, however, brings little progress. Eric remains aggressive and shows no intention of changing. The other inmates grow frustrated and want to beat him for his attitude, but Balmer steps in and stops them. Meanwhile, Iago tells his clients he won't sell them anything until Eric is dealt with. Eric visits his father, but the conversation doesn't go well. Still, he continues attending therapy and slowly begins to show signs of improvement. At the very least, his conversations no longer end in fights, which is already a big step. Eric trains regularly in the gym. It helps him stay in shape and release his aggression. Neville is there too. Seeing his son doing well, he feels something he hasn't felt before: pride. After training, Eric is in the shower when one of Iago's men sneaks up behind him and attacks. Eric struggles to breathe but gathers enough strength to fight back. The attacker admits Iago sent him. Furious, Eric grabs a hidden knife and goes after Iago. After taking a few blows, the terrified dealer lies and claims he acted on Dennis's orders. Without hesitation, Eric rushes toward Dennis's cell, but his father stops him. Soon, the truth comes out. Iago is confronted, and Eric realizes he was lied to. Dennis demands that Iago transfer to another block immediately or face serious consequences. The prison's crime boss later explains to Eric that he's lucky. His powerful father has been protecting him all along. Without him, he wouldn't survive here. Neville visits Balmer, still dissatisfied with his son's behavior, and criticizes the psychologist for the slow progress. But he's wrong. At the next therapy session, Eric finally manages to control his anger. Despite difficult topics, he doesn't attack anyone or start a fight. Balmer is pleased. Even the prison staff are surprised. Eric begins communicating calmly with other inmates, even sharing tea with them. The only one still unhappy is Neville. After talking to others in the group, he concludes the therapy is pointless. He decides to see it for himself and attends a session, but it ends badly. The crime boss sparks a major conflict, storms out, and the calm atmosphere collapses. Everyone starts shouting, swearing, and eventually, a fight breaks out. Guards are forced to intervene. The warden blames Eric and bans him from therapy. Furious, Balmer quits. Eric loses control. Those sessions were his only chance to change. He blames his father for everything and provokes him into a fight. Neville refuses and retreats to his cell, but Eric follows, continuing to insult him. Dennis steps in to defend Neville and ends up taking several hard hits. Guards break up the fight and decide to send both father and son to solitary confinement. Eric accepts the punishment calmly, but Neville resists and fights the guards. They have to hose him down with cold water to calm him. Even in solitary, Neville tries to shout to Eric from across the corridor, telling him he's worried about him, but Eric doesn't believe him. With the help of another inmate, Neville escapes solitary. He knocks out a guard, covers him with a blanket, and locks him inside the cell. But he hesitates. He doesn't have the courage to free his son just yet. Back in his cell, Neville learns a horrifying truth. The prison authorities are planning to eliminate both him and Eric, staging it as an accident. Dennis has been ordered to carry it out. At that very moment, Dennis attacks Neville, but Neville kills him with his own knife. He rushes to the solitary cells to save his son, arriving just in time. Eric is already on the brink of death. Neville takes down the guards, embraces his son, and brings him back to his senses. Overwhelmed by fear and panic, Eric breaks down in tears. He is taken to the hospital. The next day, his therapy group friends visit him and see that he's recovering. Eric is later allowed a short walk. Suddenly, He notices guards taking his father away. This is the last time he ever sees him. They don't even get to hug. Both are in handcuffs. The truck carrying Neville drives off into the unknown, while Eric is led back to his cell. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss anything. You were watching the Mini Movies channel. The next summary is coming soon.